morning everyone. Today we are discussing one of the commonest infective pathology of the respiratory system, that is pneumonia. Pneumonias are defined as acute inflammation of the lung parenchyma distal to the terminal bronchioles, which consist of alveolar ducts, sacs, respiratory bronchioles. So it's an infective pathology. The definition itself indicates that there is large accumulation of the mucus secretions, which consist of infective pathogens, bacteria, mycoplasmas. So here the alveolar ducts are filled with mucus secretions, which are infective in the nature. The etiology of pneumonia. The first one is the bacteriology. It includes both gram-positive as well as gram-negative, like Streptococcus, Staphylococcus, H. influenza, pneumococci, etc. The next is the viruses. The pneumonia developed due to viruses, also called as primary atypical kind of pneumonia. It includes herpes simplex, herpes zoster, measles, cytomegalovirus, adenovirus, etc. Few other varieties are rickettsial or mycoplasmal pneumonia. Also, it includes Stevens-Johnson syndrome in these varieties of the pneumonia. Sometimes the various protozoa also leads to development of pneumonia, like Entamoeba histolytica. The yeast and fungi also leads to few varieties of the pneumonias where the etiology is actinomycosis or aspergillosis, histoplasmosis, etc. Chemical pneumonias are also prevalent where there is chances of aspiration pneumonia. Aspiration happens due to ingestants enter into your respiratory tract. Some of the times it happens that accidental vomitus enters into the respiratory tract and leads to collapse of the lung. Sometimes few of the toxic gases or smokes also enters into the respiratory tract and leads to pneumonia. The another variety of lipid pneumonia where the lipids enter into your respiratory tract, especially they are called also as cholesterol pneumonia. Here the lipid may be in the form of kerosene or paraffin or petroleum. The next is due to structural anomalies. Few of the anomalies like esophageal stricture or acalesacardia, hiatus hernia, where the structure is at the defect, is leads to diaphasic kind of pneumonia. We can classify pneumonias in various ways. First one is according to etiology into bacterial pneumonia, viral pneumonia, and the other types. The bacterial pneumonia includes lobar pneumonia and bronchopneumonia. Lobar pneumonia means it is an homogeneous consolidation patches over one lobe or more lobe of one or both the lungs. The bronchopneumonia refers to the patchy consolidation which is found in the bronchial and bronchiolar regions. The next variety, that is viral or mycoplasmal variety, which is mostly called as primary atypical type of pneumonias. The next variety includes various other etiological factors, which includes Legionella pneumonias. The Legionella bacteria are responsible for this kind of pneumonia. It is usually found in the soils or in the water. By inhaling this particular bacteria in a closed spaces with the help with where air conditions are continuously used, the person residing in that particular room is prone to develop Legionella pneumonias. The next is the aspiration pneumonia. It is found in many of the patients where the vomiting or any of the ingestion from the esophageal tube, if it enters into your respiratory tract, the aspiration pneumonia happens. Even in the cases of epilepsy, it happens due to sudden ingestion of the vomitus or the content of the stomach. The next is the hypostatic pneumonia. It is usually found in old age person or those patients where there is large amount of accumulation of the fluid in the dorsal region of the lung, who are more prone to in the recumbent position, who are lying down or in supine position for extended period of time. Those patients may be having the history of paralysis or any of the CNS defect where they are not able to move, or those patients who are due to some of the systemic disease or some of the pathological diseases, they are in a lying down posture for a longer duration of time. The next is the lipid pneumonia. In lipid pneumonia, few of the fatty acids or fatty contents like oils or kerosenes or fumes are entering into your respiratory tract, and it leads to a fine type of cholesterol pneumonia. The other way of classification is through the anatomical. It includes lobar pneumonia, which terms as when the pneumonia is affecting one or more lobe of the lung. The next is lobular pneumonia, which is affecting the bronchial tree, the bronchial pneumonia. And the third, which means it is an interstitial pneumonia, where the interstitium of the lung is affected. Another way to classify the pneumonia is through the epidemiology. The first one among them is the community acquired pneumonia, also called as CAP. It consists of total 5 to 15% of the total number of the pneumonias. The commonest etiology behind that is the bacteria or the viruses which is found in the community or which is outside the healthcare unit. The recent example of COVID-19 is this kind of CAP. The next is the nosocomial acquired type of pneumonias, which are actually happens during the hospitalization of an individual. The person is being hospitalized for some of other diseases and which get affected by the pneumonia during the admitted period. The next is the aspiration type of pneumonia, where the some of the ingestants or vomiters or some of the fluid which instead of entering into the food pipe or esophageal tubes enters into the respiratory tract and leads to development of the pneumonia. The ventilated associated pneumonia are found in the patients who are being admitted in the ICU and are kept on the ventilator support. These kind of patients are for the longer period of time, over a longer period of time, develop with the ventilator associated pneumonia. The next comes is the pneumonia in the immunocompromised patients. Here the patients are having history of HIV or AIDS, or these patients also having the history of any of the organ transplant therapy. This type of patient also might have gone through the chemotherapy or they are on the immunocompromised drugs. These patients are having immunosuppressive therapies like chemotherapy or corticosteroid therapy or the steroidal therapy for various other systemic disease, and they are likely to develop pneumonia as a complication of the drug therapy. The next is found in the recurrent type of pneumonia, where the small children are getting affected by the various kind of lower respiratory tract infection in the form of recurrent infection. They are prone to develop infection due to affection of streptococcal or staphylococcal or pneumococcal infection. This comes under the types of recurrent type of pneumonia. The pathophysiology of the pneumonia can be divided into four stages. The first is stage of congestion. It's an initial phase. It's an acute inflammatory response of the body to the varieties of the pathogens. It usually lasts for 1 or 2 days. Here, the inflammatory response leads to development of exudate and accumulation of the large number of the mucus in the alveolar sacs. So, the lobe of the lungs become enlarged. They are heavy, dark, red, and congested. From there, the next stage comes is the stage of red hepatization. Hepatization means the consistency of the lungs are now changing to the more firmer consistency of the liver. This stage starts after 2 or 4 days after the primary infection. In this stage, the lobes are red, firm and become dry and granular. Here in the alveolar exudate, you can find large number of the red blood cell, fibrins and neutrophils being trapped. From this, the next stage comes, that is the stage of gray hepatization. Gray hepatization, where the RBCs are now breaking down and there is fibrofilamentous structures are developing, and you will find the mucopurulent exudate in the alveolar sacs. So the lung now, the consistency is now changing to more of the dry, heavy and granular and firm kind of consistency, which termed as gray hepatization. The next comes the stage of resolution. This stage comes after 8 or 9 days from the primary infection. During this stage, the resolution takes place where there is liquefaction of the alveolar septa. The fibrous filamentous parts are now getting liquefied with the help of proteolytic enzyme. In the clinical feature of pneumonia, you will find the general symptoms of the infection like prostration, weakness, malaise, fever with rigors, night sweats, nausea and occasional vomiting. In the pulmonary symptoms, you will find that cough will be dry, painful in the early phases where the expectoration is very scanty. But as the pathology advances or at the stage of hepatization advances, the patient will come up with the productive mucopurulent or sometimes blood tinge or rusty sputum. In the pleuritic symptoms, you will find the patient will have a pleuritic chest pain, which is very much significant and will be even shifted to anterior abdominal wall or to the either of the shoulder blade. It is localized with the movement or at the site. Other signs what you will find is the tachycardia, tachypnea, high grade fever, herpes labialis. Along with that, in the auscultation, you will find that the breath sounds are being weak. Even in the percussion, you will find the notes are being dull in the characteristic because of the consolidation of the tissue. Further, you will find that there will be fine crackles at the base of the lung as the pathology advances. In the initial phase of the disease, patient will come up with various constitutional symptoms like loss of appetite, weakness, prostration, fever with rigors, and few of the respiratory system symptoms like cough with expectoration, which is scanty and dry, gradually which is turning out to be productive, exudant, and rusty kind of or blood tinge kind of sputum. This is found in the early stage where the acute inflammatory response of the body is going on. As the stage advances, as the disease progresses, there is multi-system advance involvement is seen in the patients. Like in the CNS, sometimes it is seen that the headache is there, mood swings are there. Even at this stage, orientation also getting affected. Patient is disoriented to the place or person and time. Even in CVS, you will found that there may be bradycardia over a period of time, or even there is fall in the blood pressure. Patient may develop various type of pain in the extremities or in the joints. This is the stage when hospitalization is needed. In the early stage, up to the stage of resolution, patient may take up the medicine at home and can be treated at outdoor as an outdoor patient. But when the other systemic involvement are increasing, you have to hospitalize the patient and initiate the treatment accordingly. The investigation profile includes blood investigation, urine investigation, sputum examination, and radiological examination. In blood investigation, first one is the CBC, that is complete blood count. Here you will find leukocytosis. In that, neutrophilic leukocytosis indicates bacteriological origin. You will also find hemolytic anemia, which is a complication in cases of mycoplasmic pneumonia. The next comes the ESR, which is always higher side or elevated, which is suggesting of the chronicity of the disease. You will conduct the biochemistry profile in which urea will be elevated, that is around more than 20 mg per dilution. Also, there will be hyponatremia, which is indicating the severity of the infection. The next comes is the liver function test and renal function test. In liver function test, you will find that the albumin will be decreased or on the lower side, which indicates there is affection of the liver has already started. Also, if the SGPT level also will be deteriorated. Next comes the sputum examination. In sputum examination, there will be identification of the organism with the help of staining. So gram negative and gram positive bacilli can be easily identified. Then next comes is the urine examination. In urine examination, the pneumococcal urine antigen detection test, which is a very rapid detection test you can perform, which gives the indication of the positive findings immediately. Then next comes is the arterial blood gas analysis, that is ABG. In the cases which are admitted in the ICU are those who are on the ventilation for a longer period of time, whether the treatment is helping the patient or how the patient is performing, or to know the prognostic value of the individual, you can perform the ABG. If the SpO2 level is less than 93%, it is suggested that the lung functions are very much deteriorated. The next comes is the radiological examination. Here, the X-ray will be confirmatory for the diagnostic. You will find that patchy consolidation patches are present in the one lobe or the affected lobe, which are the clear demarcation of the pneumonia. In cases where the complication has already been occurred, like the cases of pleural effusion, sometimes tapping can be done and you can examine the aspirated fluid with the help of cytology and find out the etiology behind that. the differential diagnosis of the pneumonia. The first one is the pleural effusion. Here you will find that the total count will be within the normal range. There won't be much purulent sputum and less cough and sputum. The next cough is the pulmonary infarction. Here there will be history of any of the venous thrombosis or heart disease, but you won't find the history of fever with rigors. Next is the lung cancer or any of the malignancy of the lung. Here, the hilar lymph node will be enlarged and they will be superimposed over the other respiratory symptoms. The next comes is the fibrosis of the lung. Here, the chronic cough and mucopurulent sputum will be present. The asthma is again a differential diagnosis for this, but here the wheezing of asthma will be the key feature to differentiate it. The next term is the subdiaphragmatic condition. The pleural, if cases of pleural effusion where the subphrenic abscess has been ruptured or cases of pancreatitis, you will can identify with the, you can differentiate it with the diagnostic tool like the sonography.